Our kitty now moves down, our kitty moves up. We have a little great component that helps us to move our kitty up and down. Um, what about left and right? So there's a couple little things we need to consider here. So we can make a horizontal component to go left and right, in which case we have to decide up, down, left, and right. Or we can just create a vertical buffer that would do the same thing for us already as well. So there's not a right answer here. It's really more of what you're comfortable with. Um, I can actually take this whole thing real quick. I'm going to start there and just say, let's change horizontal to vertical buffer. And think about what would change. So it's not top that matters anymore. It's going to be left. So we're going to say the default's going to be left. And we're still going to have a warning zone, and we're still going to have a moving zone, but it's not going to be their height that matters. It's going to be their width that matters, right? And then it's no longer top, it's left. So when it's a left, we're going to move to the right, which means the delta is still 1. And now the row is going to be the same on both of these, but the column is going to change. So the moving zone is going to be to the right of the column. And then again, the warning zone is going to be to the right of the moving zone for when it's going to the right. We're doing motion in either case. Our move is no longer looking at y, it's looking at x. And so we're looking at the x change. And when the new x changes, we'll change that all the way down. Well, we don't care about the height anymore, we care about the width, right? And let's change it down here as well. And change it down here as well. So to some degree, easy peasy. We have copied and pasted code. We changed some stuff, but notice in this case, we didn't just change values. We changed variables. We changed the logic of where things are moving around. So in the first case, it was like literally the only thing we changed was a +1 or -1 or which row went to which one. So it's a pretty, most of it was overlapped. Most of it needed to be checked. In this case, we changed a few of those values, but we changed which ones they were substantively different, the columns and rows. So we would have had a lot of if statements and stuff moving around. So it's really 6 of one, half dozen another. It doesn't really matter. But creating the components, I believe, is a really smart move because it allows us to keep our code really clean and simple down here like it was originally, but um, but then have the depth of behavior and everything else inside of it. So let's see if that holds out to be true. In practice. So, I just did a lot of quick little edits. You might not have caught all of them. You might need to go back and recheck that in the video. But let's see if it worked. Oh, nope. One thing you did wrong. So we now have really, really wide buffers on either side. So I did something wrong here. So it's not perfect, but let's just double check. What do we do here? We made the width. Oh, wait, this should be height. Shouldn't this be height? No, this should be width. So it should be width. I know that, but why is, why did it pick? Let me just double check something real quick. Hold on. Yeah, still put this top to bottom. Oh, wait, did I not do that? Did I not do something wrong? Horizontal. Oh, because I left this as horizontal. I didn't change this to vertical. Simple mistakes. I made all those other tiny little changes. I missed one. Perfect. Right away. So, warning, 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 warning. Let's see if it moves. Oh, nope. I missed something. New y is not defined. Oh yes, so this should be. I forgot this last little bit. Um, so this should be new x, and this should be the previous y. So let's try that again. Warning. Ah, yes, I'm moving the side. Oh, and it jumped. And I'm moving. Oops. Ah, I'm moving too fast. Oh, then it jumped. Okay, so there's a couple little things I want to tweak here, but notice I do now have it moving in all the different directions. So a few things I can tweak here. So my delta, let's make my delta 10 and negative 10 instead of 1. Now the reason for that is just simply that way I can't catch up as fast. It's going to jump much faster than my mouse would. Yes. Oops. So there's a few other things I might want to tweak here, but if I make it bigger, it behaves a little bit better. You can see I can move it all around here. So you have the idea of this. So what would I tweak here? Well, one thing, I'd probably want to make the kitty picture to be a little bit smaller, a little bit more tightly fit around here. So I'd play with the size of that picture, so that way my buffers was closer. That would allow me to have a little bit more play on the different sides. I'd probably, instead of moving it all the way up to 0, I'd throw it in a little bit of buffer. The other big trick here is if you do happen to, especially on a small screen, get on top of the kitty, you're kind of stuck in this limbo state right here. Oh no, I'm touched the kitty, I'm not supposed to. Well, you can prevent that a little bit by adding another listener. If you do on top of this, I can just have it teleport someplace else. Just instantly jump on top of it if I end up having to be on top of it. But this is good enough. You get the idea. If you did the math one, then looking at this one, you can see how we use the components to move stuff around. There's still a lot of lines of code, and there's still some if statements and some decisions of where things going, but you can kind of see where everything's at. And if I go through and I change, by the way, this background, I go make them all white, then the great part about this is it's very, very, very visual. It's very easy for me to be able to see what I'm looking at, where things are, and instead of having to wonder, now my kitty, it looks great. It's white on the screen. It jumps around. It's a little bit tight inside of there, but you can see kitty jumping around, moving. And the great part about this one is since I have those corners, I could actually come in, if I come at the kitty from the angle, I can make it where they move down and left as well. The math one, it's a little bit more looking at numbers and looking at debugging that way. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just different approaches. There's not that one's wrong, one's right. There's just different ways of solving the problem. And this is what I really want to emphasize to you. That coding, there's many different clever ways to solve problems. And there's probably more on these variations that you can come up with as well. But seeing different examples and building them just makes you a better coder. Working through the bugs and making them, finding them and working them out makes you a better coder, especially when you have an answer sitting in front of you and know what you're shooting for. So I hope that you can get these working. I hope they work well for you. If you have questions, let me know. But feel free to build both of these or either one of these and turn it in for some points and get that great practice and have fun with a little bit of a cutesy little goofy little app that really does test coding skills in interesting ways.